President Trump has centered his presidency on the idea that he's in charge and everyone else is just a supporting player.
Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
Let me tell you, the one that matters is me. I'm the only one that matters, because when it comes to it, that's what the policy is going to be. You've seen that. You've seen it strongly.
Here's the thing. I don't have teams. Everyone's talking about teams. I'm the team. I did nothing wrong.
I'm the team. However, days ahead of the first public impeachment hearings this week, congressional Republicans are now arguing that it's everyone else's fault, not the president's. According to the Washington Post, quote, Republicans' latest plan to shield President Trump from impeachment is to focus on at least 3 deputies, U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, and possibly acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, who they say could have acted on their own to influence Ukraine policy. Altogether, by the way, altogether on their own. One of President Trump's chief cheerleaders, Republican Congressman Mark Meadows of North Carolina, unveiled the strategy last week, telling reporters, quote, when I get to ask questions and when you see all the transcripts, you will understand there's no direct linkage to the President of the United States. What the argument ignores are the 5 words that came from President Donald Trump's mouth to the ears of President Zelensky. Do us a favor, though. For more, I'm joined by Ken Delaney, an NBC News correspondent, Katrina Mulligan, Managing Director for National Security and International Policy at the Center for American Progress. Thank you both. It's a little late in the game to deny the ringleader is the ringleader when all along it's been a one-man band.
I think you're right. It doesn't pass the laugh test. However, as a legal matter and as a public relations matter, it may be the only strategy they have.
Who's the audience for this stuff? Well, who's going to buy it? That he didn't lead the band on, he didn't have it in his heart to get some dirt on Joe Biden, or at least to get the president of a country to say, we got some dirt on him.
The audience are those regular people with jobs who aren't paying attention as closely as you and I are. And you know what? This is like Nixon.
This is showing up in your. I don't see this in the polls. I see people in the polls paying attention to this thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, imagine Nixon without the tapes. Could they have pinned it on Nixon without the tapes? I mean, we don't have yet Donald Trump ordering the aid withheld.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. I'll try you now because I go back to you, of course, my colleague. He says to the president, you want all this stuff you want. Yeah, but I want something first. I want something, though. We had the conversation. That's where Nancy Pelosi jumped on this guy and said, impeachable. This guy's trading national interest, public trust for personal political gain, right there in that conversation.
I mean, he has supporters at rallies saying, read the transcript. I've read the transcript, and the transcript is damning in its own right. I think it defies credulity for the president to claim, or for any of his supporters to claim, that he wasn't involved in this decision. And if that is the argument that they're making, that actually says something equally damning about the way this White House is run.
If he wasn't involved, let's try the counterpoint. No, you can play this part, devil's advocate. You know how to do it, besides being a reporter.
Sure.
Suppose you say he didn't do it. The minute he heard somebody was holding up the Ukrainian Javelin missiles or whatever to fight the tanks with, he'd say, who the hell's that? Where'd they get that from? Mulvaney, what's going on here? You're my chief of staff. How can you do this without telling me? If he would have fixed it in a second. Trump listens to every mosquito out there, every little sound of news he's listening to. He's watching everything. He's sitting in his bubble bath with watching Fox and Friends in the morning. But all the time he's listening for the news.
I mean, the evidence is it was all him. He was the one who was obsessed with Ukraine. No one else. They were just trying to figure out how to please him. I'm just arguing that they need the evidence. They got to prove their case to the American public.
You're not going to get a single Republican vote no matter what you do. You can jump up and down. You won't get anything.
And that's a sad commentary.
Well, it is.
I mean, after Bill Clinton admitted that he lied under oath, Democrats didn't try to defend that. They just argued it wasn't impeachable.
Yeah.
If Republicans took that tact, you could respect that. But this is absurd what they're arguing now.
Amid the cascade of evidence and testimony, Republicans have remained devoted to the president while testing out evolving and at times contradictory defenses.
It's all hearsay. You can't get a parking ticket conviction based on hearsay.
There is no quid pro quo. There is nothing this president has done wrong.
If there was a quid pro quo, it certainly wasn't a very effective one.
And I have news for everybody. Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy.
Get over it. I mean, first of all, some of the defenses are ludicrous. One of them is, well, they got the money eventually. They got it in September. After this whole thing exploded, they got the money.
of course, they got the money.
Everybody knew what was going on here.
I mean, at this point, we've been through so many different defenses that people are writing articles about the various different defenses and all of the counter arguments to each of them. I mean, you know, the truth is, as Ken said, there really isn't anything that's stuck. And so I think what you're going to start to see, and what we are seeing, is different people being, you know, thrown under the bus, for lack of a better word. You know, we are seeing, you know, Mulvaney's name floated, Giuliani. But let's not forget that Vice President Pence was also involved in this situation and was, you know, communicating with the Ukrainians.
He's a real.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.